Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here on my very favorite day of the week because I get to spend it with you. And I don't usually remember to ask this, so I'll do it now. But if you like the content that we produce, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and so you can see more of this content. But today, I really want to start with a very simple story. Because once upon a time, there was a kingdom where everybody measured their wealth with the king's measuring stick. They measured their wages with it. They measured their homes with it. They measured their savings with it. They measured the stock market with it. Every single year, the king told people, look how much richer you are. Their paychecks were bigger. Their house prices were higher. The stock market kept going up and up and up, and everybody clapped. But there was a secret. Because every year, the king made the measuring stick smaller. And that was a problem, because people could not see what was really happening with their wages, with their house prices, with the stock markets going up. They believed the lie. So when things looked bigger, they were not really bigger. And one day, a woman found an old measuring stick from her grandmother, and she used it to measure the same things. Suddenly, she saw the truth. The people were not richer. The measuring stick had shrunk. That's what inflation is all about. That's what it does. It makes the numbers look bigger while your purchasing power declines. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We see every day we are in melt-up, and the stock market keeps going higher and higher. But let's take a look at the nominal gains, because you've known over the years that what I've told you is whenever you see that word nominal or notional, what you automatically need to know is that you're not looking at anything that's actually real. It just makes the numbers look bigger, and your purchasing power goes down. So look at this from 1913. And if you were paid, an average annual wage was $800. And if you were paid in ounces of gold, well, that was 38.70 ounces of gold per year. And a family of 4 could live on that. So while inflation makes things look bigger, the most current data that I was able to pull, the average annual wage is almost $70,000. But when you look at it in terms of ounces of gold, my friends, you are not even being paid 50% of what you were paid in 1913. Even though those numbers look bigger, a family of 4 needs 2 wage earners at almost $70,000 a year, and they are paycheck to paycheck. And they can't even pull together $400 in case of an emergency. But if you were still paid in the same ounces of gold as you were in 1913, your wages for one person would be $175,649.35. So you would still only need 1 wage earner to support a family of 4. This is the difference between the truth and the lies. We think we're making more money and things look like they're going up, but in reality, by design, wages never were meant to maintain your purchasing power. They just want it to go down slowly enough that you don't change your habits, but rather you take on more debt to accommodate and try and attempt to maintain your standard of living. And that's when you become a complete debt slave. So cumulative inflation between the two is almost 30%. And they're actually saying that wages in reality have gone up 3.7%. No, they haven't. They haven't kept pace with inflation. And that is by design. And that is not okay with me, because this is the purchasing power of the consumer dollar. And can you see how over time it intentionally loses value? Inflation is not a monetary phenomenon. It is a government debt-based fiat money phenomenon, because when you take on debt, you have to pay interest. It is not that complicated. This is the measuring stick that actually matters to you and to me. And this is the S&P. And you can see the melt-up phase that we've been talking about. This is the nominal S&P and the S&P after inflation. So you think you're that much ahead because the stock markets keep going up? You're not ahead because all you can do is convert it into this crap. So you think that you're seeing something going up, but that's not the reality. That's not the real measuring stick. And it only makes you feel wealthy for a minute until you go and spend it. But with the average wage not having the ability to keep pace for a family of four, people are getting more and more behind. What you're looking at here is the S&P 500 spot gold contract, which does not actually reflect the true fundamental value of an ounce of gold, but still, this is what you look at, and the spot silver contract. And this goes back, as you can see, to 1970. And it's pretty obvious from this graph, 1980, when the contract prices spiked as they were launching the paper contracts to control the visible price of gold and silver. But what do you see here? Oops, didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. But what do you see here? Look at spot gold. Even the manipulated contract has outpaced the S&P 500, but the difference is, presuming you don't hold a contract, you hold the real thing, it's still severely undervalued. The stock market, all you can do is convert them into dollars. It's all you can do. And that has no value by design. So to see this illusion clearly, let's look at a country where they couldn't hide the measuring stick anymore, where inflation became impossible to hide. We talk about it regularly. And hey, we just went into Venezuela, didn't we? So they're backing dollarization, which means that they want to use dollars instead of bolivars, because the bolivar is still experiencing 600% official inflation. I brought this up because Venezuela has had several overnight revaluations. And so you can see, too, that are obsolete, because quite honestly, if a government can say this is money, they can also say, oops, not money again, or just simply inflate its value away. You end up with the same thing. I wanted to show you the Venezuela Stock Exchange. You see the surge that are in there? I mean, these markets, if you had your wealth in there, you wouldn't be unhappy, because numerically, look at how it's gone up. But let's take a look at the reality, which is the Venezuelan stock market nominal versus after inflation. So my point is, you want to make sure that you're really measuring the right thing with those sticks, because this is the US dollar to the Venezuelan bolivar in 1 year, up 468.75%. That's not a bad gain for 1 year, right? I mean, that's the way you would logically think, because that's the way they want you to think. But even in terms of dollars, This is the real trend. This is just the 1-year purchasing power of the dollar officially, and we've now broken 3 cents. Don't look at the wrong measuring stick. That's really not going to help you at all. This is the spot silver contract to the Venezuelan Bolivar. That's up 1,100, 1,200%. And this is spot gold contract to the Venezuelan Bolivar. And what's really been happening around the world is as the price of gold has gone up, more people have turned to silver because it's less expensive. But both of these are sound money. It's just the silver's more volatile. It's the fuse. It's the canary in the coal mine. It shows you what is coming. It's the fuse. This is the anchor. This is slow, steady as it goes. And don't worry about those spot contracts. They mean absolutely nothing. The illusion is nominal growth. The truth is purchasing power. Here's my $10 trillion Zimbabwe note that I can buy absolutely nothing with. But what can people in Venezuela, in Zimbabwe, anywhere in the world, what can they use for money when their currency doesn't work? Because at the end of the day, gold and silver, it's in our DNA. We know that that is real money. And we'll just dive right into the questions. So from Facebook, John Hoffman asks, "Hi, Lynette. There is some talk about the government taking gold held by citizens. Just how much gold does the general public own?" It depends on where you are, because there are certainly some countries like India, Vietnam, and a number of other countries that have gone through enough currency resets that they are very, very gold oriented. Here in the U.S., that's not so noticeable. I'd like it to be a whole lot more noticeable. So I would say here in the U.S., we probably have, well, certainly less than 3%, less than 1%. I'm trying to grow it globally to 3%, because I think that if we've got 3% of the global population that have physical gold and silver, and we can dig our heels in and demand sound money back in the system. And that's actually the whole point of the dime cards, to be honest with you. And this also tells the difference of the measuring stick. And that's why I hand these out everywhere that I go constantly, because this is the silver dime. This is a regular dime. They're both dimes, but this one, on the day that we happened to buy it, which was February 27th, that's this particular dime, it cost us $6.72. The other dime, what can you buy with that dime? Nothing. But you used to be able to buy a couple cups of coffee with it, or an inexpensive meal. You can still do that with the silver. So, yeah, not many. We've got to get more people. That's why it's so important for you guys to be the army. And remember, if you're a client, you get the first one free. But no matter what, the rest of them at our cost, because we want to get the word out there. We need to do this, and we need to do this sooner than later. And, I task you all, look in the mirror and say, if not me, who? And if not now, when? We can make a difference if we come together. One person can't. I can't do it by myself. But together, we're all rowing in the same direction. We've got that energy. We can get more people familiar with it and more people to own it. And there's probably people that own precious metals, gold, silver, what have you, that don't realize that they actually own precious metals because it's marked sterling or 925 or 14 karat or 9 karat. You need to understand gold and silver in any form is monetary at its base. So not much. Let's change that. High-O Silver K5X. When the overnight reset happens, what happens to dollar prices? Is there more to that, or is that the end of the question? Okay. So what happens is everything falls, right? Except typically you've got the spot gold and the spot silver that will hang up at these upper levels for globally on average over time. So I cannot tell you, I'm not saying this is what is exactly going to happen because I can't control that. But generally speaking, there is this 9-month window. And during that 9-month window, what the intention of the strategy is to extinguish any of your fixed rate debt and pay them off just like the government does with, in this country, dollars that have no value at all. So the value of the money goes down. And again, I can't tell you what that reset valuation is going to be coming up, but I can tell you that it's generally 1,000 to 1. So you go to bed at night and you got $1,000 in the bank. When you wake up in the morning, there's one. But it doesn't mean that it has any more value. It's just lost like 99% of its value. Whereas the spot markets for gold and silver hang up there for a minute longer or 9 months longer on average. And that is what enables us to execute that next part of the strategy. And we're set up and prepared for the exit part. And thank you guys so much for being here. I really cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. And if you find value in it, subscribe. Hit that like button, leave us a comment. Let's grow this channel. But even more important than that, let's grow this community. And don't forget, I think it's next week, right? Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the Sound Money Hour. That might actually be a good way to kick off with that relative performance chart, actually. So we'll have it there. I'll do it for this stacker if you're not going to go to that. But join us on the Sound Money Hour. Let's take our power back. Let's come together. You're the army. I'm a warrior. We can do this. And until next we meet, please, wherever you are in the world, please be safe out there. Bye-bye.